Zachary Taylor was born on November 24, 1784, in the small town of Barbersville, located in Orange County, Virginia. His birth took place during a period of significant change and upheaval in American history, just a few years before the United States declared independence from Britain. His early life was deeply rooted in the social and economic fabric of Virginia's plantation society, which would influence his perspectives and future career. His father was Richard Taylor, a man who served as a lieutenant colonel during the American Revolutionary War. Richard Taylor's military service and leadership qualities left a lasting impression on Zachary and his siblings. Richard was a respected figure in their community, known for his bravery and dedication to the cause of independence. His service in the war not only provided a sense of patriotism within the family, but also instilled in Zachary an admiration for military service and leadership from an early age. Zachary's mother was Sarah Dabney Strother Taylor, a woman known for her strength, resilience, and strong character. She came from a prominent Virginia family with deep roots in the region's social hierarchy. The Taylors belonged to the planter class, wealthy landowners who owned large plantations and numerous slaves. This social standing provided them with considerable influence and resources, shaping Zachary's upbringing within a privileged environment that emphasized discipline, hard work, and social responsibility. At a young age, Zachary Taylor experienced the comforts and responsibilities associated with plantation life. The family owned extensive landholdings in Virginia, where they cultivated tobacco and other crops using enslaved labor. The practice of slavery was an integral part of their economic system and social structure. Growing up amidst this environment exposed Zachary to the realities of slavery and the complexities of Southern society, issues that would later influence his views on sectional tensions. When Zachary was still very young, his family decided to move westward in search of new opportunities and better land for their plantation pursuits. They relocated from Virginia to Kentucky, specifically to Jefferson County. This move was part of the broader westward expansion that many families like the Taylors undertook during this period. Kentucky offered fertile land suitable for farming and new prospects for wealth accumulation. The frontier environment of Kentucky presented both challenges and opportunities for young Zachary. The rugged landscape required resilience and adaptability, traits that he would develop over time. His childhood was marked by outdoor activities such as horseback riding, hunting, fishing, farming chores, and exploring the wilderness around him. These experiences fostered independence, self-reliance, and physical strength, qualities that would serve him well throughout his military. Zachary was the third of 5 surviving sons in his family. He had several siblings who also played important roles in his life. His brothers included Richard Jr., Joseph, later known as Joe, James Madison Taylor, named after President James Madison, among others. He also had sisters whose names are less well documented, but who contributed to the close-knit nature of their family unit. The Taylor children grew up surrounded by values emphasizing loyalty, discipline, perseverance, and respect for authority, values that were central to their upbringing. The family's social standing as planters meant they were part of Virginia's wealthy elite class. They owned slaves who worked on their plantations, a common practice among Southern planters at that time. This aspect of their lives would later influence Zachary's perspectives on slavery and sectional issues as he rose through military ranks and entered politics. Throughout his childhood and adolescence, Zachary received limited formal education due to the frontier environment, but learned essential skills through practical experience on the farm. He developed a love for horses early on and became an accomplished rider, a skill that would later define much of his military career as a cavalry officer. Despite limited schooling compared to urban children or those from more privileged backgrounds, Zachary demonstrated intelligence, resourcefulness, discipline, and determination. As he grew older, Zachary's interest shifted toward military service rather than continuing with traditional education or farming pursuits. Inspired by stories of American independence and heroism from the Revolutionary War era, stories told by his family members, he developed a desire to serve his country through military service. In addition to his physical abilities with horses and outdoor skills, Zachary also learned about leadership through observing his father's role as a community leader and landowner. His father's example taught him about responsibility towards others, a trait that would become evident later during his military campaigns. The move from Virginia to Kentucky proved pivotal in shaping Zachary's character. It exposed him to frontier life's hardships, but also fostered independence and resilience necessary for future challenges. Growing up amidst both privilege due to their social standing and hardship due to frontier conditions gave him a balanced perspective on life that combined ambition with practicality. His education was informal but thorough for the time, focusing on practical skills such as reading agricultural manuals, understanding land management, and developing leadership qualities through observing his father's role as a landowner and community leader. The Taylor children were expected to contribute to the running of the household and farm. Zachary, being one of the older brothers, took on responsibilities that included overseeing laborers, helping with crop planting and harvesting, and maintaining order among the enslaved workers who worked on their plantations. This hands-on experience provided him with an understanding of agriculture, labor management, and the importance of discipline, lessons that would serve him well later in his military career. Despite this solid foundation in practical education and leadership within his family environment, Zachary found life on the farm unfulfilling. The routine of planting, tending crops, and managing slaves did not appeal to him as a lifelong pursuit. He was ambitious and yearned for a different path, one that would allow him to serve his country or achieve personal distinction beyond the confines of plantation life. As he reached his early 20s, he began to feel increasingly restless with the limitations of farming life. His desire for adventure, challenge, and recognition grew stronger. At around 24 years old, roughly in 1808, Zachary Taylor made a decisive move to pursue a military career. This decision marked a turning point in his life. He enlisted in the United States Army at a time when opportunities for young men with leadership qualities were expanding due to ongoing conflicts, such as the War of 1812 and various frontier skirmishes with Native American tribes. His physical strength, horsemanship skills developed during childhood on the frontier, and natural leadership abilities made him well suited for military service. Taylor's initial entry into the Army was motivated by a combination of personal ambition and a sense of patriotic duty. He saw military service as a way to achieve distinction and contribute to national security. His early years in uniform involved rigorous training in horsemanship, combat tactics, discipline, and leadership under difficult conditions, typical of frontier postings. Despite limited formal military education at this stage, he had no prior experience beyond what he learned informally from family life. His natural aptitude for command quickly became apparent. Throughout these early years in uniform, Zachary demonstrated resilience and adaptability. He served in various posts along America's western frontier, areas that were often volatile due to conflicts with Native American tribes resisting U.S. expansion into their lands. His duties included scouting missions, defending settlements from attacks, escorting supplies across dangerous territories, and engaging in small-scale skirmishes. These experiences honed his skills as a soldier and leader under challenging circumstances. Taylor's military career progressed steadily as he gained experience and recognition from superior officers. His reputation as an effective leader grew because of his calm demeanor. Despite limited formal education beyond basic literacy skills learned at home or through informal instruction from family members or fellow soldiers, he quickly learned military tactics through practice and observation. His decision to leave farming behind was not made lightly. It was driven by an innate desire for adventure and achievement that could not be fulfilled within the confines of plantation life. The monotony of agricultural work contrasted sharply with the dynamic nature of military service, where each day brought new challenges requiring quick thinking and decisive action. For Zachary Taylor, joining the Army represented an opportunity to forge a new identity rooted in service rather than landowning or slaveholding. Throughout these formative years away from civilian life, and despite initial doubts about leaving behind familiar surroundings, Zachary Taylor's commitment to self-improvement grew stronger. His transition from a farmer's son with limited formal schooling into an accomplished soldier exemplified his determination to succeed through hard work and perseverance. Zachary Taylor's military career spanned nearly 4 decades, during which he established himself as one of the most respected and accomplished officers in the United States Army. His journey from a young frontier soldier to a national hero and eventually a presidential candidate was marked by dedication, strategic skill, and a series of significant military engagements that shaped his reputation and legacy. Taylor's service began in the early 19th century, a period characterized by conflicts with Native American tribes, border disputes, and the expansionist ambitions of the young nation. Throughout his career, he demonstrated resilience, leadership, and tactical acumen that would later influence his success in the Mexican-American War and his rise to the highest office in the land. Zachary Taylor joined the U.S. Army in 1808 at the age of 24, motivated by a desire for adventure and a sense of patriotic duty rather than necessity or economic gain. His early years in uniform involved postings along America's western frontier, where he gained invaluable experience in combat tactics, leadership under pressure, and logistics management. During this period, he served under various commanders and participated in numerous skirmishes with Native American tribes resisting U.S. expansion into their territories. His dedication and competence quickly earned him recognition among his peers and superiors. One of the pivotal moments early in Taylor's military career was his participation in the War of 1812 under General William Henry Harrison. The war was fought between the United States and Britain over maritime rights and territorial boundaries, but it also involved significant land campaigns against Native American tribes allied with British forces. Taylor served with distinction during this conflict, demonstrating bravery and tactical understanding that led to his promotion to the rank of major by its conclusion. His performance under fire solidified his reputation as a capable officer, capable of handling complex battlefield situations. Following the War of 1812, Taylor experienced a brief period of retirement from active service, an uncommon occurrence for officers of his era, before being recalled to duty by President James Madison. Madison recognized Taylor's potential as a leader on America's expanding frontier and invited him back into active service to help manage ongoing conflicts with native tribes and secure U.S. territorial interests. This return to duty marked the beginning of a long association with frontier military operations that would define much of Taylor's career. In the 1830s, Taylor's responsibilities increased as he took on more prominent command roles. By 1840, he was appointed as the commanding officer at Fort Jessup in Louisiana, a strategic position overseeing operations along the southern border with Mexico and dealing with ongoing tensions related to territorial disputes. His leadership at Fort Jessup demonstrated his ability to manage large detachments of troops, coordinate logistics across difficult terrain, and maintain discipline among soldiers facing challenging conditions. Taylor's reputation continued to grow during this period as he successfully managed frontier defenses amid threats from Native American tribes resisting U.S. expansion into their lands. His calm demeanor under pressure, strategic insight during skirmishes, and ability to inspire loyalty among troops earned him respect within military circles. These qualities would prove crucial during later campaigns, when swift decision-making and effective leadership were essential. The outbreak of hostilities between the United States and Mexico in 1846 marked a turning point for Taylor's career. As tensions escalated over disputed territories along the Texas border, particularly around Rio Grande, Taylor was called upon to lead American forces into Mexico. His initial deployment involved securing key positions along the border while preparing for larger operations inland. During the Mexican-American War, 1846-1848, Zachary Taylor emerged as one of America's most prominent military figures. His leadership during this conflict elevated him from a respected officer to a national hero. One of his earliest major successes was at Palo Alto in May 1846, where he commanded U.S. forces against Mexican troops in one of the first battles of the war. Demonstrating tactical brilliance, using terrain advantageously, and maintaining composure under fire, Taylor secured an important victory that boosted morale among American troops. Following Palo Alto, Taylor continued to demonstrate his military prowess at Resaca de la Palma, near Matamoros, later that month, decisively defeating Mexican forces once again. These victories established control over key crossings along the Rio Grande River, a strategic objective that had significant political implications back home regarding claims over Texas territory. Perhaps most famously, Taylor achieved a stunning victory at Monterey in September 1846 after intense urban combat that tested both his strategic flexibility and resolve under fire. Despite initial difficulties due to urban terrain and stiff Mexican resistance, Taylor's forces eventually captured Monterey, a vital port city, and secured an important foothold for subsequent operations further inland. In February 1847, Taylor achieved what would become his most celebrated triumph, the Battle of Buena Vista, also known as Angostura. Facing a numerically superior Mexican army commanded by Santa Anna himself, estimated at around 15,000 troops against approximately 5,000 U.S. soldiers, Taylor employed defensive tactics combined with aggressive counterattacks that ultimately forced Santa Anna into retreat. The victory at Buena Vista was decisive. It not only demonstrated Taylor's tactical skill, but also boosted morale across America while cementing his reputation as an exceptional military leader. These victories made Zachary Taylor immensely popular among Americans eager for quick resolution to their territorial ambitions in Mexico. His success on multiple battlefields garnered widespread admiration from both civilians and politicians alike. Many saw him as embodying qualities such as bravery, decisiveness, and patriotism, the ideal traits for future leadership roles. The impact of these military achievements extended beyond battlefield fame. They provided political capital that would later be instrumental when Taylor sought higher office. His status as a war hero made him an attractive candidate for president during an era when military service was highly valued by voters seeking strong leadership amid national expansionism. Throughout these campaigns, Taylor displayed remarkable resilience amid hardships, such as supply shortages, disease outbreaks like cholera among troops, harsh weather conditions, including his ability to adapt tactically while maintaining troop morale, underscored his qualities as an effective commander. In addition to battlefield successes, Taylor's leadership style emphasized discipline among soldiers and respect for civilians caught in wartime zones, traits that earned him admiration from subordinates and civilians alike. His straightforward demeanor contrasted with some more flamboyant generals. Instead of grandstanding or seeking personal glory, he focused on achieving objectives efficiently while ensuring his men remained cohesive units capable of facing adversity. The victories achieved during this period not only elevated Zachary Taylor's standing within military circles, but also made him a household name across America. The media coverage highlighted his accomplishments extensively. Newspapers lauded him as Old Rough and Ready, a nickname reflecting both his rugged appearance and approachable personality. As news of these successes spread nationwide, political figures began considering him as a potential presidential candidate, a man who could unite diverse factions through shared pride in military achievement rather than partisan politics alone. The combination of battlefield success and personal integrity positioned him favorably among voters who valued strength combined with humility. Zachary Taylor was married to Margaret Smith Taylor, a woman whose quiet strength and unwavering support played a significant role in his life, though she maintained a largely private presence away from the public eye. Their marriage was characterized by mutual respect, deep affection, and a shared commitment to their family and country. Margaret's influence on Zachary was subtle yet profound, providing him with stability and comfort amid the tumult of military campaigns and political pursuits. Margaret Smith was born in 1788 in Virginia into a family that valued education and moral virtue. She married Zachary Taylor in 1810, when he was still a young officer just beginning his military career. Their union took place in Louisville, Kentucky, a city that was then on the frontier of American expansion. The marriage came at a time when Zachary was establishing himself as an officer in the U.S. Army, and it would be the foundation of his personal life through decades of service and public recognition. Throughout their marriage, Margaret was known for her gentle demeanor, resilience, and dedication to her family. She was not involved in political affairs or public engagements. Instead, she focused on managing their household and raising their children. Despite her limited public role, her influence on Zachary's character and decisions was significant. She provided him with emotional support during long absences caused by military assignments and offered stability during times of stress and uncertainty. The Taylors had a large family. They were blessed with 10 children, 7 sons and 3 daughters, though not all survived to adulthood. Raising such a sizable family required considerable effort and patience, especially given the hardships of frontier life and the demands of Zachary's military career. Margaret managed their household with grace and efficiency, ensuring that her children received proper care and education despite the often challenging circumstances. Margaret's role extended beyond mere household management. She was a moral compass for her husband. Her steadfastness and quiet dignity helped Zachary maintain his sense of purpose amid the chaos of war and political ambition. During his campaigns in the War of 1812, the Mexican-American War, and various frontier postings, she remained behind at their home or at military posts, where she could be close to her husband when possible. Her letters to Zachary during these periods are filled with warmth, encouragement, and concern for his well-being. Although Margaret did not participate publicly in social or political events, unlike some spouses of prominent figures, her influence was felt indirectly through her unwavering support. She embodied the virtues of patience, humility, and devotion that characterized her husband's character as well. Her presence provided Zachary with emotional grounding. Knowing he had her steadfast support gave him strength during difficult times. During Zachary Taylor's rise to national prominence following his victories in the Mexican-American War, Margaret remained modest about her own role, but continued to be a pillar of stability for him. As he gained popularity among Americans eager for military heroes to lead the nation into new territories, Margaret's quiet dignity contrasted with the often flamboyant personalities surrounding political figures of that era. She preferred privacy over publicity. Her focus remained on family life rather than public recognition. Their marriage endured through many challenges: long separations due to military duties, the hardships faced by frontier families living far from urban centers, illnesses that affected their children or themselves, and the pressures associated with Taylor's rapid rise in military ranks. Throughout these trials, Margaret's support never wavered. Her resilience helped sustain Zachary's morale during difficult campaigns or personal setbacks. In addition to providing emotional support for her husband, Margaret also played an important role as a mother, guiding their children through formative years marked by discipline and moral instruction. She instilled values such as honesty, hard work, faithfulness, and patriotism, traits that Taylor himself exemplified throughout his life. Her influence helped shape not only their children's characters, but also contributed indirectly to Zachary's reputation as a man. Despite her limited involvement in public affairs or social functions, common for women of her time, Margaret occasionally accompanied Zachary on official visits or family trips when circumstances allowed. These moments offered glimpses into their private life together, scenes of mutual affection, shared laughter amidst challenging circumstances, and mutual respect that underpinned their relationship. After Zachary Taylor became president in 1849, a position he held only briefly before his untimely death, Margaret continued to live quietly at their estate in Louisiana until her health declined. Her role as First Lady was minimal compared to later presidential spouses. She did not seek or desire public attention, but remained devoted to her family until her passing in 1852. Zachary Taylor's path to the presidency was unconventional and marked by a remarkable rise from a military hero to the leader of the United States, despite having little to no political experience prior to his election. Born in 1784 in Virginia, Taylor grew up in a family with a strong military tradition, which influenced his decision to pursue a career in the Army. His early years were characterized by service on the frontier, where he gained a reputation as a capable and courageous officer. Over the years, Taylor distinguished himself through his leadership in various military campaigns, particularly during the Mexican-American War, where his successes made him a national hero. In 1848, amidst the ongoing Mexican-American War and the expansion of U.S. territory, the Whig Party saw an opportunity to nominate a candidate who could appeal to both military supporters and those seeking stability during a period of rapid growth and change. Despite lacking formal political experience or previous government service, Zachary Taylor was chosen as their presidential candidate. His reputation as a war hero and his image as an honest, straightforward man resonated with many voters who valued military prowess and integrity over political pedigree. The 1848 presidential election was notable for its context. It was held during a time of sectional tensions over issues such as slavery and territorial expansion. The Democratic candidate was Lewis Cass, who supported popular sovereignty, a policy allowing territories to decide for themselves whether to allow slavery. The Whigs, on the other hand, nominated Zachary Taylor, whose stance on slavery was somewhat ambiguous, but who was seen as a unifying figure capable of appealing across sectional lines. Taylor's campaign did not rely heavily on political rhetoric. Instead, it emphasized his military achievements and personal character.
During the election campaign, Taylor's lack of political experience did not seem to hinder his prospects. His reputation as a brave and honest soldier helped him gain widespread support among voters who were eager for leadership rooted in patriotism and integrity rather than political maneuvering. The election results reflected this sentiment. Taylor won both the popular vote and the Electoral College majority. His victory demonstrated that American voters were willing to embrace a leader based on reputation and personal qualities rather than extensive political credentials. Zachary Taylor officially took office on March 5, 1849. However, due to the fact that March 4 fell on a Sunday that year, an important date historically for inaugurations, he delayed his swearing-in until March 6. This small procedural detail underscored the customs and traditions surrounding presidential inaugurations at that time. When he finally took the oath of office, Taylor became only the second president in U.S. history, after George Washington, to assume office without having previously held any elected or appointed government position. His ascension to the presidency marked an important milestone in American political history. It challenged conventional notions that prior government experience was necessary for effective leadership at the highest level. Taylor's election demonstrated that qualities such as leadership under pressure, personal integrity, and national reputation could be sufficient grounds for assuming command of the executive branch. Throughout his campaign and subsequent presidency, Zachary Taylor remained largely apolitical. He was known for his straightforwardness and reluctance to engage deeply in partisan politics. His approach reflected his background as a military man, focused on duty, discipline, and service, rather than political ambition or ideological battles. Nevertheless, once in office, he faced significant challenges related to territorial disputes, sectional tensions over slavery's expansion into new territories, and managing relations with Congress. Despite these complexities, Taylor's path to becoming president remains notable because it exemplifies how personal reputation and character can sometimes outweigh traditional political experience in American electoral history. His victory also highlighted an era when military heroes could leverage their fame into political power, a phenomenon seen periodically throughout U.S. history. Zachary Taylor's death was a sudden and tragic event that shocked the nation, occurring just over a year after he assumed the presidency. On July 9, 1850, while serving as the 12th President of the United States, Taylor passed away in Washington, D.C. during his second year in office. His death marked a significant moment in American history, not only because of the loss of a popular military hero and leader, but also because it raised questions about the health risks faced by presidents and the circumstances surrounding his untimely demise. At the time of his death, Zachary Taylor was only 65 years old. Despite his relatively young age for a president, he had been experiencing health issues that worsened over time. His military career had taken him through numerous campaigns and hardships, often involving strenuous physical activity and exposure to harsh environments. These experiences left a toll on his health, and by mid-1850, he was reportedly suffering from ailments that would eventually lead to his death. The circumstances leading up to Taylor's death began with reports of declining health in the weeks prior. He had been experiencing symptoms such as weakness, fever, and gastrointestinal discomfort.
These symptoms were initially thought to be related to common illnesses of the time, perhaps influenza or other infectious diseases prevalent in Washington during that period. However, as his condition deteriorated, concerns grew among his advisors and family members that something more serious was at play. The official account of Zachary Taylor's death indicates that he suffered from an acute illness characterized by severe abdominal pain and vomiting. Medical practitioners who examined him at the time suspected that he might have been suffering from acute gastroenteritis or possibly a form of food poisoning. Given the limited medical knowledge and diagnostic tools available in 1850, it was challenging to determine the precise cause of his illness with certainty. Many historians believe that Taylor's health decline was linked to his previous military campaigns and possibly chronic conditions exacerbated by those experiences. During his military service, especially in campaigns such as the Mexican-American War, Taylor endured extreme physical hardships, long marches, exposure to tropical diseases like cholera and dysentery, and injuries sustained in combat. These hardships could have left lingering health issues that worsened over time.
Furthermore, some accounts suggest that Taylor's diet or food consumed during official functions might have contributed to his sudden illness. Food poisoning was not uncommon in those days due to limited food safety standards. There are also theories proposing that he might have suffered from an underlying condition such as cholera morbus or even a heart-related ailment. However, these remain speculative due to the lack of definitive medical records. The day before his death, Taylor appeared somewhat unwell but continued with official duties and meetings. On July 4th, the anniversary of American independence, he participated in celebrations at the White House grounds. Despite feeling ill, he insisted on attending patriotic events and engaging with visitors. His determination to fulfill his responsibilities reflected his sense of duty, but also perhaps contributed to delaying seeking medical attention or resting adequately. Zachary Taylor's death was a sudden and tragic event that shocked the nation, occurring just over a year after he assumed the presidency. On July 9, 1850, while serving as the 12th President of the United States, Taylor passed away in Washington, D.C. during his second year in office. His death marked a significant moment in American history, not only because of the loss of a popular military hero and leader, but also because it raised questions about the health risks faced by presidents and the circumstances surrounding his untimely demise. At the time of his death, Zachary Taylor was only 65 years old. Despite his relatively young age for a president, he had been experiencing health issues that worsened over time. His military career had taken him through numerous campaigns and hardships, often involving strenuous physical activity and exposure to harsh environments. These experiences left a toll on his health, and by mid-1850, he was reportedly suffering from ailments that would eventually lead to his death. The circumstances leading up to Taylor's death began with reports of declining health in the weeks prior. He had been experiencing symptoms such as weakness, fever, and gastrointestinal discomfort. These symptoms were initially thought to be related to common illnesses of the time, perhaps influenza or other infectious diseases prevalent in Washington during that period. However, as his condition deteriorated, concerns grew among his advisors and family members that something more serious was at play. The official account of Zachary Taylor's death indicates that he suffered from an acute illness characterized by severe abdominal pain and vomiting. Medical practitioners who examined him at the time suspected that he might have been suffering from acute gastroenteritis, or possibly a form of food poisoning. Many historians believe that Taylor's health decline was linked to his previous military campaigns and possibly chronic conditions exacerbated by those experiences. During his military service, especially in campaigns such as the Mexican-American War, Taylor endured extreme physical hardships, long marches, exposure to tropical diseases like cholera and dysentery, and injuries sustained in combat. These hardships could have left lingering health issues that worsened over time. Furthermore, some accounts suggest that Taylor's diet or food consumed during official functions might have contributed to his sudden illness. Food poisoning was not uncommon in those days due to limited food safety standards. There are also theories proposing that he might have suffered from an underlying condition such as cholera morbus or even a heart-related ailment. However, these remain speculative due to the lack of definitive medical records. The day before his death, Taylor appeared somewhat unwell, but continued with official duties and meetings. On July 4th, the anniversary of American independence, he participated in celebrations at the White House grounds. Despite feeling ill, he insisted on attending patriotic events and engaging with visitors. His determination to fulfill his responsibilities reflected his sense of duty, but also perhaps contributed to delaying seeking medical attention or resting adequately.